You're listening to Mind Over Markets, a podcast on trading psychology to help you build a bulletproof mindset. Here's your hosts, George Papazov and Mark Borscht.
So I want to move on to the next question here. What do you think your self-worth is? When you remove that, imagine the possibility and the power. Now, what is your opinion of yourself? And be careful, because the opinion of yourself that you have ends up manifesting in what you have around you. It turns into an environment. It's not the environment's fault. If you don't have the things you want, it's not the environment's fault. It's your opinion's fault. But the good news is you can change that.
Yeah, that kind of brings me back to a story I remember telling George. And this is going back to my honeymoon. And we were in Antigua with my wife, and we were in the English harbor on one of the hills overlooking the sunset. And there was a gentleman that was on a yacht in the harbor. And it was a gentleman right next to me, looked over at me, tapped me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, look at that rich a-hole. Wouldn't it be nice?" And that moment right there, I kind of stopped and I thought about it, and I kind of rejected that opinion,
Right.
because if I were to agree to that opinion that rich people were a-holes, then, I'm looking and I'm working towards, being high net worth individual. So if I have an opinion that rich people are a-holes, that's a reflection of myself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If I were to agree with that, then I wouldn't be aligning with what I want to achieve at the end of the day, right? And so I think that speaks to whether you choose to approve or decline what people's comments are, but it also speaks to that individual's opinion of themselves, of their self-worth.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That person does not think that they're worth owning a yacht, so they have that opinion of the person who does. And as a result of having that opinion, they're not going to achieve anything close to what that person might have achieved that owns the yacht.
That's awesome. Honestly, I commend you for doing that, for having the filter and being aware enough, self-aware enough to realize that, I have a choice here. In that moment when you stopped and you realized, like, this seems off, the statement, should I accept it or not? That's great. Like, that's personal. That takes effort to get to that stage. You're not born with that kind of skill set. Well, actually, we are born with it. We just muddy it up later on through all these assumptive things that we've taken on from people. Like, you should go to work, you should get a safe job, it forms your life. But that's really huge, Mark, because to be able to have a filter and think critically, remember, if somebody's opinion is projected and you accept it, it becomes your opinion. It becomes your identity. So sometimes when I've had friends in the past who have come to me with hard issues and they say, "Hey, this is what's happening, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Look, I'm not here for a pity party. I'm a cause. Let's fix this stuff."
Yeah.
Pity party's not going to help. The longer I listen to how you're having a problem, the more it becomes my problem, and the less the two of us could spend on creating a solution. So that's great. And I think rich people, this whole notion that rich people are bad, I think that comes from the movies, man. Like, you see, they're always the villain. They're always doing something. Since I've created more success in my life, I've attracted more success and more successful people. I can tell you, I don't know a single person that's rich and embodies the portrayments in media and movies and all that stuff. It's interesting.
Hollywood.
Yeah, in Hollywood, exactly. So another thing I want to talk about is deserving success. So if you have a higher self-worth now, I know you do, all right? Now that you're blocking opinions out and you're in charge of your own stuff, do you think you deserve success? All right? Do you deserve to be a trader? Do you deserve to leave a 9-to-5 job that you're unsatisfied with, to work for yourself, have a schedule that you want, to make more money than ever, all right? Do you believe all that? Because if the answer is yes, then I believe that as well for you. Because I believe that if you have a high enough self-worth, if you're accepting that by the fact that you're given life, you're worth an infinite amount of resources, so much that you can't even quantify that with money, all right, then you deserve all that. Self-worth people deserve. And that's what I wanted to kind of give you the message. So through this podcast, I hope we've gotten you to the point where you're saying yes. Yes, George, you're nodding your head as you're doing what you're doing and saying, wow, I actually believe that statement. Because I believe it's possible for you. Number one, I've seen it happen with people joining TRADEPRO Academy, going through the process, quitting their job, making a lot more money than they did before, being super happy, right? Number one, I've seen it. Number two, before I've even seen it, I knew it was possible, right? Because I faced it. And so that's what I'm here to tell you, is that you're a life form and you're designed to grow. Get this. You want to read out the stats there, Marky?
Sure. So plants, they grow. Humans are born on average 7.5 pounds. So how much do you weigh now?
I'm at like 240. I'm trying to get that down though.
Yeah. I'm around 180 or so. Definitely a lot more than what I was born with, right? So what does that show you guys? That
Growth.
You've grown, right? It's grown. And human brains, they grow from about 33% of the average adult size to 55% in 3 months, right? Which is crazy. So
That's insane growth.
I didn't actually know that. That was a statistic George put on on the show notes. And that's actually very impressive. So what we kind of want to bring it back to is the fact that if you are alive, you guys are growing. All right. So you want to keep working towards progress and growth, and through shifting your thinking and rethinking your self-worth and really deciding that you are worth what you want to have and the results and the life that you want to have. That's really the first step to that growth and to accelerating that growth. It's going to be a catalyst towards any growth coming forward.
That's beautiful. If you're alive, you're destined to grow. And so give up the notion that other people's opinions determine your self-worth. Be empowered. I mean, you're living a cause now if you've listened to the first few episodes. If you haven't, I strongly suggest you listen episodes 1 to 5. It'll change your life. That's where it'll get you to the point that you're at cause. You know, you're worthy and you're taking responsibility for change. Because if you have a high self-worth, you also have a high sense of responsibility. Those two go hand in hand.
Yep.
You are responsible for change. If you have a self-worth that's high and other people's opinions, look, if you naturally stop taking other people's external opinions and accepting them, your self-worth will automatically elevate. Because what's happening is you're like a beach ball. Your self-worth is like a beach ball. You can push it under water, and that's what other people's opinions do. When you remove those opinions, boom, it pops up, right?
It makes a nice splash.
Yeah. I was going to do a sound effect, but we might dub one in after. Bloop. Yeah. Bloop. There you go. But so that's how it is. When you remove other people's opinion, the beach ball is going to pop. Your self-worth is going to elevate. So how are you going to increase your self-worth? Number one, we just said it, block all opinions that come from a lack mindset and people with a lack mindset. Remember, a person's opinion is not the person. So when somebody gives you an opinion and you reject the opinion, you're not rejecting the person. You're just rejecting that opinion.
Exactly.
Right? Everyone's got their own model of the world. Like, you got to know and respect that. People have their own model. They've been conditioned a different way. They see the same things that you see, but interpret it differently. So when you reject an opinion, you're not rejecting a person. You know, I've rejected opinions of people I love dearly, and I've accepted opinions from people I don't really understand. So there's value in an opinion, but you are the one that allows it to become fact by accepting it. So step number one for self-worth, all right, block all opinions that are from a lack mindset.
I think what George said is important, guys. And if this is your first time tuning in to the podcast, make sure to check out the first 5 episodes, especially the first one, what George mentioned, that every person's opinion or their experience of what happened is different. And this leads back to what we spoke about in the first episode with regards to the NLP, the mind man.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
With regards to, what was it, 2.3 million?
2.3 million bits per second.
Million bits per second. And each person, their logical mind only takes in 126?
128. Yeah,
128.
give or take a couple. So
give or take a couple. And so what that simply means in layman's terms is that everybody's perception of reality is different. Both George and myself are in the same studio. We're sitting right across from each other, but we're experiencing different realities, right? I'm experiencing my 128 bits. He's experiencing his. And that kind of leads back to what he was mentioning with the fact that when you reject or accept somebody's opinion, you're not doing that directly to the person.
Exactly.
Right? You're doing it to the opinion itself, because that's not serving you. If it's not serving you, then it doesn't have any value to you. It's not increasing your own personal self-worth.
And how valuable is that? Just to accept the fact that a person's opinion is not the person. That's so valuable. Think about how your relationships are going to change. And think of, like, now the people who you have conflict with become learning opportunities. I mean, this is just like a kumbaya moment for me. I really enjoy having a discussion around this. And it's phenomenal. I'm hoping you guys are learning a lot as well. So Obviously, block opinions. Number 2, only accept what supports your growth because you are worth it. We've already established that. All right. Mark touched on the perceptions reflection. So somebody's opinion is a reflection of themselves. Don't judge the person. Look at the opinion as itself and ask yourself, what could I learn from that person?
Yep.
When somebody says an opinion like, you're not a good trader, for example. Let's use an example because I think these are important. You're not a good trader, or not that you're not going to become a good trader. Why do you want to do that? Such a risky business. Why not stay at your 9-to-5 job? One way to react to that is, holy crap, this person's they're getting aggressive towards me. Right? They're trying to stop me and block me. Another way to react to it is saying, look, what formed the basis of that opinion?
Thanks for listening to the Mind Over Market podcast. You can find us at TradeProAcademy.com.